So if you've ever wondered why it takes so long to process a green card in the United States, you're not alone. Stick around because I'm going to let you know why it takes as long as it takes. So hello everyone, I'm attorney Lee Marvin, and I have been practicing law for over 20 years and specializing in immigration law for over a decade. My main office is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but I help individuals and families from any state in the country and really any country on the planet. So if you need assistance, you've come to the right place, okay? So again, stick around for a couple of minutes because you need to know why this craziness with immigration is even more crazy than it's ever been, okay? So I'm gonna explain to you this process because the most common question relating to green cards is the wait times. Why does it take so long? That's the wrong question. The right question is, why does it take that long, okay? So understanding how the process works will help you understand why it takes so long, and you can better plan for the wait time, okay? So I'm gonna tell you all about it right now, okay? So the complexity of immigration is well known, okay? There's so many different policies, there's different procedures, there's different processes. It depends on everything. Almost what you ate today, it will have an impact on your immigration, okay? For green card processes, there really are two main parts to it, okay? Inside the United States and outside the United States. So wait times relate directly to those two things. So how does the green card process work? Okay, for every green card, there's a sponsor and a beneficiary. The beneficiary is the one who gets the benefit of the green card. The sponsor is the U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident who petitions or sponsors for their family member. Now, there's other ways of getting green cards. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about family-based petitions, okay? So family-based petitions, both inside or outside the United States, they start the same way. You've got to file the petition, which is a petition for alien relative, okay? That's the I-130 that you've heard all about. The I-130 is filed by the sponsor or the U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident for their family member. Then what happens? Immigration reviews it. What do they review? Well, the I-130 is all about showing that you are related to somebody, that you have the right to sponsor, and that you're proving the relationship with the family member or the sponsor. So immigration is reviewing your right to sponsor somebody and the beneficiary's right to be sponsored, okay? So that talks about birth certificates, marriage certificates, living situations, the whole 9 yards. There's a ton of information depending on the relationship, whether it's mother, father, brother, sister, spouse, or child, okay? All those categories are ones that can move forward with the green card process, okay? Each category or relationship requires different information to prove that you can move forward, okay? So whether the interview is inside the United States or outside, both processes start with the I-130 process. Once it's approved, if your process is inside the United States, that takes about 10 months, okay? If it's outside the United States, it takes about 10 months too. So the I-130 process, 10 months. After that, it can be very different. So inside the United States, the next step in the process, if you're, let's say, spouse, your spouse files a green card request for you with the intention of doing the interview inside the United States, the second step is for the government to collect biometrics, which is your picture, fingerprints, and then they use that to do a criminal investigation to see if you have anything that they need to be worried about or things that invalidate you for a green card, okay? Usually, once you file, it takes about 1, maybe 2 months to get that appointment scheduled with your local office, okay? They schedule it, you go in there, you get your picture taken, they check your fingerprints, and then they start doing their thing, okay? It can take, who knows how much time it takes. It depends. It depends on your history. It depends if you have a criminal history or not. Typically speaking, it's roughly 3 months for the government to do that phase of the operation. The reason it's confusing, because the government doesn't tell you how long it takes. It's just you're sitting around waiting for 10 months. And you're like, well, what the heck's going on? You try to go online and do this online check for your account, useless, because they don't give you accurate information. They just post something on there to pacify people so it looks like the government's actually doing something. They don't actually provide useful information. And I'm not just being critical of the government, that's actually true. So there's no telling how long it takes to do biometrics. I suspect it probably is 1 to 3, maybe 4 months for them to process that. If your process is going to happen inside the United States, that also is a point in time where they're processing your work permit, okay? So if you have the right to do it in the United States, you have the right to get a work permit, and that usually takes 3 or 4 months for them to process that request and to give you the right to work in the United States while you're waiting for your green card interview, okay? So again, processing times vary. That's the name of the game. Everything changes depending on where your office is, really, what state you're in, what your local field office is, and how quickly they process things. That has a huge impact on processing times, okay? The third and final step is your interview. Again, there's a huge disparity or difference between different locations, okay? Time depends on the local field office because it's being scheduled with the local field office. So if you have a super busy office, it's going to take longer for you to get your time. What do I mean by that? Let me give you some examples. It can take anywhere from a few months. I've had it in 3 months before, up to 2 years, okay? Let me give you some quick examples. San Diego, currently, and I just looked these up, San Diego is processing these requests for an interview in 14 and a half months. Chicago, 18 and a half months. New York is 19 months. Detroit is 18 and a half months. Houston is 21 and a half months. So that's how long it's taken them to actually get a spot for you to do your interview. That's how long it takes, okay? So again, processing times change from place to place. And it comes down to how darn busy they are, okay? So they do post these things. And if you take a look at my YouTube and do a search for processing times, I'm always updating various locations so you have an idea of how long it takes. I also explain a video on there to explain to you how to find out how long it takes to process these, how you find out your local jurisdiction. So check that out, okay? So that's for inside the United States. That's why it takes different amounts of time to process these, okay? Outside the United States is very different too, because first of all, you have the I-130 process that I already mentioned. Then once that is approved, they send it to the National Visa Center. The National Visa Center is the office that processes everything in order to make sure that everything is ready to be sent to the embassy for the interview. Again, interviews are conducted in the embassy. Embassies are in different countries. So that National Visa Center will assemble all the information and send it to the right embassy so that the embassy can then schedule the interview. Interview wait times vary based on the embassy, just like in the local field offices. Different countries have different priorities, different processing times. They're very different, okay? So it really depends on what country you're going to. And they don't post processing times, okay? So when you talk about the embassies, they don't post it really. They might have something online that gives you a general idea, but it's not very useful, okay? So it really depends on the country. If you want to talk to me, I can give you better information because I've dealt with a lot of countries, so I have a general idea of how long it takes. But the government doesn't tell you how long it's going to take. They just tell you when they are ready for you, okay? So that's why when you hear videos and you talk to different people, and this wait time thing is such a mess, because there's a lot of different pieces of the puzzle that all have their own time frame. that you have to wait for, okay? So it's not like going to the store and, every Tuesday they bring the milk at 10 a.m., right? Very different, okay? And it has a lot of different factors involved, okay? So that is why. That's the why, okay? So again, in the United States, it's easier to know processing times. Outside, it's very hard to know, okay? So if you like the information in this video, I would ask you to please subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so you can be notified of other very useful videos. If you have comments, you can put the comments in there. If you have suggestions for videos, I would love to hear that. But basically, this is all up in the air. If you need help, direct help, you can click the link below to reach me directly. But otherwise, keep looking out for other videos where I provide useful information for you. And I hope you have a wonderful day.